We're going straight to the west. Oh, and of all the places to run into someone after almost a year, you know, it's kind of fitting because today's film is the movie equivalent of, dude, check out this giant dump I just took. I'm speaking, of course, about Kuso. Well, guys, if I've learned anything after taking off almost a year-long hiatus from doing movie reviews and then picking up some marginally or better recording and lighting equipment, it's that I do not get enough sleep. I am slowly dying. Speaking of which, the Emoji Movie. No, that's not today's movie. 9/11. Oh no, that's national tragedy. Kuso, that's what I'm looking for. Kuso is a movie from this year, which was limitedly released on a streaming platform known as, well, it begins with an S, but I don't want to give them the advertisement, so we'll just call it Blubber. It's a sort of weird hybrid gore horror comedy directed by Flying Lotus, who you might recognize that name if you're familiar with Adult Swim and their programming. He did a lot of their bumpers and sort of collaborated with music projects. And he brings in some Adult Swim alumni for this one, such as Tim Heidecker, Hannibal Buress. You get George Clinton for some reason. And then some really cool, relevant musical artists such as Aphex Twin, the guy who did the Silent Hill soundtrack, Asami Washington, Thundercat, to name a few. And the movie's actually brilliantly bookended by the rapper Bus Driver, who is definitely one of the biggest highlights of the movie. And you have some additional jokes by David Wills, who co-created Aqua Teen Hunger Force. One of the sequences is co-written by David Firth, who created Salad Fingers, so you can kind of tell where the humor lies in this one. And according to a strangely profanity-laced interview with Flying Lotus on RottenTomatoes.com about the film, his influences kind of read like a must-see list of experimental films. El Topo, Eraserhead, Fantastic Planet, Tetsuo the Iron Man. There's a sort of thin plot that doesn't matter that much, where the world's ending because a huge earthquake just hit, and then basically the form of the film is 4 main vignettes, only they're stories that are returned to. So really it's like 4 separate short films were made and then sort of cut up with then some extra things like some bumpers that look like they were taken straight out of Flying Lotus's commercial bumpers on Adult Swim. And there's some really crazy, unexplained animations, such as the sequence featuring a whole lot of breasts that seem to also be influenced by Jodorowsky, such as that scene in Holy Mountain where, well, you know the one, where the old guy has like jaguars for breasts and like half of his face is shaved, and then he starts shooting milk out of it and laughing maniacally. Alright, so we got Flying Lotus at the helm, we got David Firth, Mr. Salad Fingers in there, you got Aphex Twin, Bus Driver, Tim Heidecker, Hannibal Buress. Surely nothing can go wrong. I mean, we've got the luster of so much talent in one place. Everyone's excited to work on this very unconventional, uncompromising experimental film. What do you got? Give it to me. I have to know. I have to watch all the crazy movies. I must watch all of the disturbing movies. Otherwise, my life is not complete. I have to know what's the grossest movie. I have to withstand them all. I need it. I need this one. Basically, here's the feeling I got from the movie. There's no censorship now. Not that there really was much on Adult Swim to begin with. So now they can do anything they want. No holds barred. No holding back. Here we go. So what do they do with it? Cock. That's what they do with it. There's lots of cock. There's poopy. Everybody has boils with jizz on their faces, and there's S&M and shit and balls. It's pretty goddamn juvenile, infantile, sophomoric. I like the fact that there's a lot of self-aware jokes in the movie. You know, at one point someone says something to the effect of, 1.5 hours, I don't have that much time. And then of course in the trailer also there's, I fucking hate this movie. Plus, the title Kuso, from my understanding, is Japanese internet slang, which basically describes, for lack of a better term, fucked up shit, which is basically what this movie is. But all in all, that's kind of what I thought the film amounted to, just nothing more or less than a bunch of fucked up shit. Unfortunately, none of the vignettes themselves really add up to anything together or separate from the rest of the movie. It's kind of like one of those situations when you're just talking to your friend about some crazy story that happened, and it's much more fun to tell the story than to live through it. I would say roughly 30% of the humor works for me. I mean, there's a sequence with a blow-up sex doll and bus driver, which is kind of funny. Hannibal Buress' voice is just always funny. And really those kind of weird, only seconds-long bumpers that just kind of come and go without any explanation are sort of the highlight. So basically going into this, I think you're going to know already if you're going to enjoy it or not. You know, basically if you're looking for just straight gore or just straight shocking material, you probably won't be disappointed. You know, it's certainly disgusting, it's certainly vile and crass. I'm definitely feeling some similarities to maybe that very choppy episodic film ABCs of Death. Maybe even Der Todesking. And just maybe, without giving too much away, the main strange twist in the movie How to Get Ahead in Advertising. It seems to me like the intention was more to just have a movie that people could go, whoa man, that's one of the most messed up things I've ever seen, and to just kind of shock as many people as possible and get people to walk out of screenings, rather than someone saying, wow, that film made a profound effect on my life. And the exploration of the dark underbelly of humanity wasn't as throbbing gristly as I was hoping. It's more like White House, where it's just some man screaming in your face about rape. You know what, guys? I think you're just better off watching an episode of, like, Xavier Renegade Angel, because besides the fact that it's a superior product, those are in 11-minute increments. There's definitely this appreciation for anti-humor and Andy Kaufman-style humor, where the joke's on the audience, the joke's on you. And that can only kind of go so far, but we're sort of taking a nosedive further and further into that, and I think this movie's the next step. I can feel it, guys. I can finally feel the fact that I'm almost 30, and I'm passing the torch to the next generation. The meme movement, or the bowel movement, I should say. My God, they literally just throw in fart sound effects and the Wilhelm scream at one point. And look, I commend Flying Lotus for going out there and really giving it a shot, and it's not like he half-assed it. He made a film, but it knows its audience, and it's not really gonna grow outside of that, I wouldn't think. And so this is what we're left with now, so I hope you're happy, because you can't just swipe left on this one, millennial. At least it's interesting to look at times. It was somewhat well shot and well crafted in its own way. But hey, I don't have to be negative all day. You know what? We're also in the age of information and connection through internet and communication. And while that certainly has both sides to it, this also means that we're living in an era where we could finally film cops killing innocent people. Politicians are finally held to their word of something they said in a speech. And I hope that he continues to make uncompromising visions all his own and does what he wants to do. It's just that I didn't find this one to be overly successful. Though I think for a lot of the reasons that I named that I didn't like the movie, people will like it. Did anyone actually enjoy this movie? Or are we just living in such a post-ironic society that bad equals good and no one can ever be serious ever? Now if you'll excuse me, I have to take a wicked dumpity-doo. Stay sexy.